So you're worried you're a bad mom and like you can't seem to get motherhood right. You compare yourself to others, you feel guilt about a lot of different things, and you just feel like you're not good enough. Well, you're not alone. I think a lot of us feel that. I know I feel that from time to time. So today we're going to talk about it, the guilt you feel, the feelings of not being good enough, and the comparison trap that you're stuck in. But first, hi, my name is Emily. I'm a therapist in private practice and a slow living enthusiast. And in my therapy practice, I help moms who are experiencing burnout and stress to be kinder to themselves, take care of themselves, and build better relationships with their kids and their partner. And then I also have mentorship where I help clients live a slower, hustle free life. So the information to work with me is in the description. But for right now, let's jump into why you may not be feeling like a good mom. Also, a note, my neighbor's putting in a fence. So you might hear construction noises once in a while. Okay. So, this idea of not being a good mom, I think is present to some extent in most moms who just want their children to be well and to be happy and healthy. I remember when I was in my master's program and we were doing our internship classes, we'd do an internship somewhere and then we'd have meetings about the internship. And I remember one of the classes, like all the class was all women. And we're like, all like, man, are we gonna screw up our kids? We're all like, oh my God, we're gonna screw up our kids. We're gonna have to pay therapy for our kids. Even there was one girl in the class who had a book that was called 100 Different Ways to Screw Up Your Kids. Anyway, it was like a gag gift kind of thing. But it is so a fear. And what happens is there's a lot of different things that can affect your children growing up. But having worked with children for many years, having worked with families for many years, I can tell you that the parents who usually worry about messing their kids up are the ones that are doing sometimes the best because you are a mom or a parent who cares. They care about how their child's doing, and so they actively try and make the situation better. But even knowing that, there's still so many things that might be going on in your head that's making you doubt that you're actually a good mom. So let's talk about it. The first off, I say that a lot in my videos, but the pressure to do it all. Parents have a pressure to do everything, right? We have to take care of our children, take care of our home, work, all the things. But moms especially get put into the default parent role often. So not only are they the house managers, but they're the ones who make sure that their kids have everything they need. They plan the appointments. They often clean the dishes. They plan the groceries. They plan the suppers. They make sure that the kids' clothes are clean. So there's just so much pressure to do everything. And they are placed upon us these unrealistic expectations that we should just do it all. And that's that. And there's different things that make us feel like we might need to meet these unrealistic expectations. Like we might see things on TV or social media, or we might hear it from people. That's just kind of how things are. But your situation is different than anybody else's situation. So, if you're working, it's very hard to have the pristine house with, I don't know, no messes and the perfect suppers always planned. That's not always feasible. And even if you're a stay at home mom, I have friends who are stay at home moms. That doesn't mean that you're still able to manage everything at the same time as you're taking care of a child. And so when we consider people who look like they're able to do it all, quote unquote, are these individuals truly doing it all for one? Oftentimes, no, but let's say they are. They are doing it all. They are meeting all those unrealistic expectations. For them, they're not unrealistic, they're just expectations that they meet, let's say. But are they happy? Is that the kind of life you want to live? Because if you are managing your house to the pristine condition, you probably don't have as much energy or time for your partner, for your children. Like there's trade offs. And so we think of these unrealistic expectations as things that we should achieve, and yet we don't consider that in order to achieve them, other trade offs need to happen, whether that be foregoing self care, foregoing date nights, foregoing quiet times with your children. If you're gonna do all the things that are outwardly, most often outwardly viewed as good, so like clean house, amazing suppers, and all that, then you forego other things that are just as important, if not more important. So, you know, you didn't make your bed, but you spent time playing in the morning with your child, for instance. So there's a trade off, for as an example. But what happens when we don't meet those unrealistic expectations that society places upon us and that we place upon ourselves is that we have like internalized feelings of inadequacy. Like, we are not a good mom, we're a bad mom, we can't do it. We just really are hard on ourselves. And that brings me to the next point that I want to talk about, which is the guilt loop. So, this feeling of never being good enough, never being a good enough mom or daughter or sister or friend or partner. You're just never good enough. And we we tend to have a lot of guilt that pops up in a lot of different ways. So of course there's guilt of like you're not meeting the expectations that people or society has for you, but the other one is you feel guilty if you engage in screen time. You go like play on your phone in the middle of the night. You don't make things from scratch, right? Maybe you feel guilty that you're feeding pre-made pouches instead of homemade preserves, and that you're not present 24/7. So I have spoken to people who are working moms like me, who we feel bad when we send our kids off to daycare. But then I also have friends who are stay-at-home moms who feel bad that their kids don't have that experience of going to daycare. So all I have to say is like everybody will feel not good enough and for various different reasons. But regardless, it will affect our worth, like our self worth, and our own identity as a mom. Also, I don't know why, but my outside fan just kicked up, and so did the people making the fence. Okay, we only have 1 point left though. Hopefully, the audio is still good, even though there's so much going on around me. Oh my god. The last point I want to talk about, which kind of loops into this everything really, is the comparison trap that we can get stuck in. Because what happens is we compare ourselves to our friends, our family, our own parents, our grandparents, people on social media. We see and hear highlight reels from people and expect that that's just how it's supposed to be. And so, for instance, one of my friends, her friends, well, a friend of a friend, makes all of her food naturally. Like it's all natural for her child. She makes everything from scratch, applesauce, everything. And I'm like a go to the grocery store, grab a pouch kind of gal. And when I had heard that that's what she was doing, my first thought was, oh shit, is that what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, am I being bad for not doing this? And and even my friend who was talking to me about her friend was like, is it okay if I don't do that? Because she's a new mom. And I'm like, is your child fed? Like, that's the most important part. And is it working for you? That's the second most important part. And there's so many like layers under why we do the things we do for our own children. So in the case of that person, that child had a lot of allergies, and that's why she was making everything from scratch. That was why. Not because she's a better mom than me or my friend, just her daughter had a lot of allergies, and so she made things from scratch to make sure that it accounted for that. But it's so easy to just hear something and just take it as that person's better than me. That person's doing motherhood better than me. That person's a good mom and I'm not. The other thing I see a lot is we'll see on social media somebody especially like influencers on social media who will show when they bring their child to the park or they bring their child to the beach. And then you go to yourself like, damn, I don't bring my child to enough parks. I don't bring my child to enough beaches. Does that mean I'm a bad mom? And I don't know how many times a day that happens to you where you see something, you're like, oh God, am I a bad mom? Like, it's such an instantaneous thing. You might notice it now. Like, I would encourage you to like maybe notice all the times that you see something and your first gut response is, am I a bad mom? Do I like suck? But again, you're only seeing a highlight reel of someone's life and their own circumstances. And not everybody needs to go to the beach all the time. Not everybody needs to go to the park all the time. Like, I don't go to the park all the time, but I do have like a backyard. We do go for walks. Where's her wagon? I don't know if you can see her wagon in the back there. I don't even know. And some people just do things a little bit differently. That's okay. And a lot of what you're seeing online is, like I said, it's highlight reels. And so for my own personal Facebook, like I don't post every single day in the life. I'm not very good at posting, but when I will post is when it's something like interesting or funny or cool, or like that one time my daughter me do her hair. Oh my God. Like, she never wants me to do her hair. She lets her grandmother do her hair. She lets the daycare worker do her hair. She doesn't let me do her hair. For the last 3 days, she let me do her hair. I'm going to probably post that photo because it's very cute with her hair done, like all that. But then I could just imagine another mom going like, oh, wow, like she actually does her daughter's hair every day. Like, that's amazing. Lord, no, I do not do her hair every day. She won't let me. She will slap a hoe. Sorry. She will slap a hoe. But it's true. It's very, very true. But yeah, we envy the other people what they're doing. We're like, oh my God, they're so amazing. And what that leads to is like cycles of shame and self-doubt of like, I'm not a good enough mom. I'm not a good mom. Or like you don't want to tell people like about your day to day because you feel like they're going to judge you or because you already judge yourself. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, is that you may be thinking you're a bad mom. You're wondering, am I a bad mom? And simply put, if you're asking yourself if you're a bad mom, you probably are not. Now, that's a blanket statement. I don't know your life personally, but I have found that anybody who questions their ability to parent and are actively seeking out information or videos or support for it are usually parents that really care. And are you doing everything perfectly? God, no. I don't even know what that would be. What would that look like to do everything perfectly? It's so specific to every freaking situation of you as a parent, of your child as your child, of the situation you're in your season of life. So you're not perfect. You don't want to be perfect. I can tell you that much. You don't want that pressure to be perfect. But are you a good mom? I'm going to have to guess yes. If you take care of your child, you care for your child, you're doing everything in your power to make sure that your child has a good experience and knows that they're loved and is taken care of. I think it's the basis of what you need to start. But I get it. It's hard. It's hard to not be sure. And the other thing I could say that could change your mind, obviously, because I don't know you personally. I don't know your situation right now here as I sit in my backyard. But at the core of it, is your child healthy? Are they taken care of? Are they happy? And if they are going through difficulties, are you supporting them? Take with that what you will, whether that means you're a good parent or not. But remember that you don't have to do it all. It's okay if you don't make your own food from scratch. And please stop comparing yourself to people on social media. It's not real. It really is not real. God. Even this isn't real. You're not seeing all the mess behind me. Like, look at this mess. Maybe it won't capture on. We mow the lawn, but the frickin' dandelions just keep popping up. Anyway, if this feeling of being a bad mom has been impacting you, and you would like deeper support, and maybe you'd like to work with me if you live in Ontario, then you can reach me for a free consultation. The information is in the description below. And if you want support and you're outside of Ontario and you want non-therapeutic support, then information is below. But regardless, find people to talk to about feeling like a bad mom, because I bet you the mom that you're idolizing, that you might have on Facebook, also thinks they're a bad mom. Yeah, I bet you. And if you're vulnerable and open, they'll probably tell you the truth. But no one just comes out with it. Who wants to come out and say that they think they're a bad mom? But we need to talk about these things. Because if we don't, that's how we stay in the dark. That's how we stay thinking that everybody else has it figured out and we don't. But here's the thing. No one has it figured out. No one. No one has it figured out. Okay. Thank you for joining me on my ramble. Keep living your authentic life.